Yeah, again, a very good morning to everyone. Are you able to listen me? I'm audible to everyone. Yeah. Can you see my screen now? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let's start. So, yesterday we left with, data type summary. We have learned all the standard data type, whatever it was present in Python. We have learned number data type, then string type, then list type, then we went to tuple, as a as immutable data type. Then we went for dictionary, which stores key value pair, everything in terms of key value. Yeah, yeah. This was a quite summary. We left yesterday.
Wahid, your voice is very low, Wahid.
Voice is very low.
Yeah, can you please use your headphones?
I'm using my headsets only. Now it is clear.
Yeah, somewhat better.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So we were into data type summary. I left you guys with this data type summary. Now, today we will move, little bit, further. We'll see this input, how we can ask for the console input, a prompt from, user, how we can enter data into, our code. So for taking a user input, we have raw input here in Python. You guys might be had, C in C we have a scanf there, and similar to scanf we have, raw input in Python. Raw input, what it basically takes, it gives it gives it will ask for a prompt for you in front of you, and it will ask a user input from your side. That input generally it may by default it is in the form of string, but the thing is you assign, whenever you give the value, it depending upon that value, it is going to take that, depending upon the value you give it to. This in Python, everything, you don't declare a variable, you assign it. So whatever input you give, depending on that only, it will take your value. Let's see let's see here. What I'm writing is, like, I'll just give some print statement. Print, for example, what is your name? Okay. Then after, like, whatever the user input it give, I store in the form of raw input. For example, name colon name equals to raw underscore input. Yeah. So after hitting this, it will ask a prompt for you. Look at here. I have given, this is my Python prompt. It has generated one more prompt for me and asking the user input. Now, if I give any input to, this name, for example, I'll put my name. mm, no, here. Then if I go for the name variable, just give me my name. Okay, you're storing that value, you know, as name there. For example, if I ask, if take a raw input again for an age, it'll keep the same thing. It hit enter, then put some value, like this. So it gives me an age. If I go for the age variable now, it gives me my age. Okay. Similarly, like, yesterday I've shown you that, this prompt, this Python prompt won't give you, reusability. If you want to reuse your code again and again, more multiple time, you probably go with the Python scripts. How you can write Python script? You just have to give, .py extension with any normal file. It's a Python script for you. Look at here. I have some, Python script generated with me. whatever I've written right now, like vi raw inputs, for example. Like you give the print statement, what is your print statement, then you ask for your input from a user side, then you give raw input, then you again ask for the print statement, then again take year of birth. This yesterday I have shown you that in conversion, whatever the input is coming, it's coming in the form of normally by default it's come in the form of string. You store into the variable. Okay. But the thing is, you can specify that whatever the input is giving coming, it should be an integer value so that you can store and you can perform any operation. First of all, I'm asking the name, then I'm asking year you born. Then based on year, I'm calculating his age. Like what is current is 2017. Then 2017 minus whatever the year of birth I'm taking it. It gives me the calculated age for that person. For example, I just run this command for Python Roy underscore input, enter, then it asks me your name. My name is this one, 28, oh, 89. Type wrong. Based on whatever the year, date of year you're giving, it's give you that value like that. So based on whatever the input you're giving, with the help of raw input, you're asking, you're giving a prompt or console to a user that you have to hit, you have to type the user input. In at the time of software installation, like you install any packages in this Linux packages, you install any packages. That time it will ask a prompt for you. You wanna install it, continue yes or no. At the time also, the same raw input is used there. Raw input is a built-in function in Python which gives a prompt so that you can continue with that prompt. Okay. Same example I have taken here. You just whatever the example is given, go for it. Now, Boolean. In apart from all the standard data type in Python, we have Boolean here. Boolean actually stored everything in the form of zero and one, or false and true. Basically, Boolean means false and true. It's if that value is false, if that value is zero or none, it's considered as false in Python. If that apart from zero or none value, if it is not zero, not one, any one number or any other number, anything that considered as true in Python. True and false aliases one and zero in respectively. Okay, Boolean expression, for example, you type anything like true, false, like true, false, it gives you false because true and false, false. Then false or true, it's or operation. Here it is an and operation. One of them is false, then is false. If it is an or operation, one of them is true, is true. You can have none or two, it gives you two value. It's give you none value. Okay, if you have none or two, it's give you two value. Like that. You can perform all the Boolean operation. If you're doing any relation operation, like we have relation operators and you know and or yeah, these are the relation operator, logical operator we have learned. These are the logical operator we have learned in at the time in these are the simple mathematical operations you can perform. Like imports we'll see later. We'll go to the we'll first of all we'll directly jump to the decision making in Python. Yeah, see here, like what I was saying, like have any, for example, sometime you have to make a decision based on particular condition. You have to make a decision how you're going to make a decision. You have a condition, then after that condition, if that condition is successfully executed, that condition gives a true value to you. Once that condition is satisfied, after satisfying that condition, you want something to be some action to be taken. After fulfilling that condition, you want that some action to be taken. That for that we are using decision making. In decision making, you have in Python, you have few statements. You have few statements like you have if, you have if else, you know, you have if, You have if else, then you have you know elif. Tell you what all this is executing one by one. You have elif, then you have nested if. Nested if means you have a if statement, then inside that if statement you'll have one more if statement. Yeah, you have one more if statement. These are the statements which helps you in Python to make a decision. Okay. Now, how you can make a decision in Python? For example, I have a condition that for example, a user is there in Facebook. For example, a user want to log in, but the thing is, I have a condition that if that user is equal, user has an age of 18, then only he can go for the Facebook. Otherwise, he should not log in with the Facebook. I'm just taking a sample example, like age equal to 18. I'm declaring a variable. After declaring a variable, I'm putting a condition that if age equal to 18, this is an you know uh, comparison operator. We have equal to, we have less than, greater, less than equal to, greater than equal to, less than, greater than. These are not equal to. These all are real comparison operator. Okay, I will use will use one all of them. See here, the syntax for if statement is start with the if keyword, then you give particular condition to it. Now that condition is true. This means this after after evaluating this age equal to true. If it's giving age equal to 18, if it's giving true value, then only this decision is going to be taken. Then only this if statement is going to be executed. Otherwise, it's good for the next statement. Print welcome welcome to Facebook, for example. If No, look at here. And I said you right. In Python, we don't have any curly braces. We have everything in terms of indentation spaces. But in general practice for indentation, we use two spaces. Okay, so have a good practice to have indentation of with the help of two spaces. If you give one space also, it's accept your input. But the thing is, it's better to have a two spaces practice. If um whatever the age I have given is greater than, sorry, it's less than 18. Then again one of the comparison operator that if your age is less than 18, then it should show. Hmm. Got it. Age is this one. This statement. Okay. mm, like here age is 18, then if age is equal to 18, print this. Otherwise, welcome to the Facebook. If age is not greater than 18, then otherwise you can use else statement simply that age is not greater than equal to this, like else. I'll show you. There is one mistake I've done that if you want to execute one more condition, you should go for elif. Not you can have multiple if statement inside that you can have one more statement, but you can go for elif. But the thing is, we just want to execute two statements that mm, not okay. Okay. Now. it gives me, welcome to the Facebook, because I have, given this age value equal to 18. Now he's checking for the, comparison. He's comparing that value is equal to 18. If that value is equal to 18, then it will say yes, go for it. If that value, for example, whatever the statement I have given, if I execute one more time, that with the less value, like 12, goes for, you know hit enter, same thing. It gives me, that your value is, your age is not correct. You can, this is not the correct age to be in Facebook. That's what. If we have executed only, simple statement that, based on that particular decision, you are making decision here with the help of if statement. Now, for decision making, we not only have if, we have, if with elif, you can have multiple if conditions. For example, uh, same example, if I want to execute, for example, multiple conditions. So what I'll do, if age equals to this, if age equals to 18, then same example, I'll print welcome to the Facebook. If you have elif also here, if you can execute multiple statement, you go for elif is less than 18, not a not a correct age. Hmm. Enter. Then, you can have one more elif statement, that else if, not only if age is equal to 18, I want to allow the person that, you can welcome to the Facebook. And if it is age is greater than 18 also, I want to, have this welcome message again, because it's one of the scenario, right? Depend on syntax, which is an elif. Print, print, is greater than 18, print, mm, not valid age. Mm, Then else print something else, colon print something like not a correct, like that. Okay. Not if age equals to 12, it gives me that, it goes for that age is equal to 18. No, it is not equal to 18. Like, it could have printed this value. If age is greater than, age is, greater than this 18 value, it could have printed welcome to the Facebook again. Now the age is less than 18, that's why it is not a valid age, it's printing valid age. If it is not match one of the condition, it go for the, by default it go for the else part. This all condition get false, then it will go for the else part, that not a correct criteria. Like, we have executed all, like all the decision making we follow in, Python with the help of if statement. Like, similarly, if is age now, for example, you have age equals to something 13. Okay, now, yeah, I'm setting condition that if this age equal to 18. I'm gonna print welcome FB. Similarly, now I want one more if statement inside this. And I want one more if statement inside that particular if statement. That time it call as nested if, because you are taking one more if statement, like inside that if statement. Here I want to execute that age is equal to 13. Here I want to execute age is equal to 13. Then how many year less is there? I want to print that. Print, mm, print you are year come come after, like here I want to print somebody's mic is some. Can you please mute yourself so that I can do we have any help to find out syntax for any command in Python if we are stuck on any? Yeah, actually, in everything is very mentioned in the decoding Devops books. You can refer that book, and you can have whatever query, your related query, because it's just in syntax. You have to follow the syntax in programming. They have given some indentation syntax, some if condition statement that you have to use colon after every condition, every loop, or or when you are making any, when you are following any decision making, like that you have to use it. Yeah, come after which year, like I have taken age as 13. Now I'll give 18 minus age. Here should be integer value, should be comma. Oh, not followed indentation. You mean indentation? Look at that. If you're not following any indentation error, if you're not following proper indentation, it definitely leaves you an indentation error. Yeah, if age equals to 18, print welcome to the FB. I have one more statement that if age equals to 13, now I'm supposed to print this value. But the thing is, I have printed in just below the line of the if, but it is a nested if. That's time I have to give indentation error. Will give me an indentation error. So follow the proper proper two spaces format, then it will not give an error to you. Look at here that um, if age equals to 13, print age is equal to this 80. If age equals to 18, this first condition is false. That's why I didn't went for the next condition. Okay, the first condition could have true. If age equals to 18, then it could have take check for this this uh, value, and it have first, if it statement is true, then it is execute this, then it will go for the nested if whatever we have written inside that. If I increase the value of age, like like 18, then if I execute this, it will give me zero value here, because 18 minus 18 is 18. But I just want to show that if that value is true, is equals to 18. No, again this inner if condition is false. 18, then if age equals to 18, age is uh, greater than 13, come after 0 here, because now first condition is true, age is equals to 18. Then check for the age is greater than 13, then this is also true, then execute some statement. This is called as nested if concept. Okay, for decision making you'll follow either if or if else, or elif, or you can either follow with nested if concept also. You can have one condition, you can execute another condition inside that if statement. Now like we have followed a quite long if and decision making, and how we can use it. For example, you have list of IP addresses. You have a list. For example, list of IP addresses. For example, list IP have taken name. Okay, in that you have an IP addresses 172.13.13 dot something like that, and you have one more IP address 172.14.14.1. Now you have declared one list. Now you want to compare that particular element from this list, that if this IP, whatever the IP you're taking, like how we can iterate the list. Now we have not done any for loop concept here. I'll show you how you can go through the every single if value. For example, I'll take for if of 0 equals to, now we just have a two IP addresses here. Now I'll just compare that this IP addresses, if of 0 is 172.13.14. So example, if this is an IP address, that IP address match not given assignment. I just instead of equal to, it should be a comparison operator double equal to. You should give print IP present in list. Okay, else this is not the correct IP we want. It's not a valid IP. Not a valid IP present in the list. What we have done, we have taken a list of IP addresses, and we had in compare we had sorry we have taken a list of IP addresses on in that list of the IP addresses. I've just iterated the first element, like I'm checking that if this is the first element, I go for this element. If it sees the I have a comparison with this IP, particular IP. Now imagine, right now what I'm doing is I'm just able to have this two IP here in my list. Now if I have hundreds of IP, and I want to go to each IP in that particular list, how I can go to the each IP in that particular list? It's an issue for me, right? So there should be some loop, or some kind of iterative process, like you have in some you should have some iterative process, so that you can start from first zero element, and you can move to the last element of that particular list, or that particular tuple, or that particular whatever the sequence of value you have. Now you go to the first value, then retrieve the first value, perform some operation, check for the condition, validations, whatever it is have now, and you end up with some result. Similarly, for these concepts, we know in Python we have for iterative process we have while loop and we have for loop. Like while loop is we have while loop and for loop. Why this looping concept is came? I said, right, we was there was with the help of if decision making, if statement and if else statement, we can execute a single condition. But now we want to check for the that condition should be verified multiple time. It should follow iteration. It should follow some iterative process. For that reason, while or for loop came into the picture. Yeah, while loop, there is a difference between while and for loop. That while loop is, if that particular condition is true for the while loop, it will execute until unless that condition get false. But what is the concept of for loop? For loop will have a certain amount of counter. You want that iteration to be executed for the specific time. Then you give the value specific time, and it will execute. We'll see how it is. Syntax for while is like syntax for if was like if. Syntax for if was if. Now true, then execute something, right? If true, then it will go for the next statement. Similarly, syntax of while is while this value is true. While this is true, it will go for the next. It will go inside the loop. While this is true, it will go inside the loop, and it will start looping it. But the thing is, this while true means an infinite loop. It is not ending loop. I said, as I said, right, until unless this while condition get false, your console won't come out of the loop. It will be inside that particular loop, and it's iterating for n number of time. We'll see that example. Let's see, you know, count. I'll just set up a counter with the help of while loop for 1 to 10 like that. While count equals to 10. Okay. Now while this count, whatever the count variable is greater than 0. Now while count is greater than 0, you hit enter. I just want to print that count value. Print count. Okay. If I hit enter, is is a the count is okay. Now if I hit enter, sorry, end up with a syntax error. The count is equals to 0, greater than 0. Check. Then here it should be semicolon. Okay. Now if I hit enter, then it goes to the infinite loop. Means this condition count is greater than 0, means count has a value of 10, and 10 is always greater than 0. Then it's checking for that value, and it is going, iteratively. That loop went to infinite loop. That loop has no ending. That's why until unless you interrupt that loop, it will generate the value for you. It is into infinite loop now. For coming out of the infinite loop, you have to interrupt it. The for interrupting, use control and C. That it, then you have to forcefully exit that loop. What we have done here, we have taken a count value 10. Then we are checking for the condition. If that count is greater than 0, then we are supposed to print something. You print the count value. But the thing is, when you print the count value, you want to execute this counter variable for and for till 0 to 10, for example. Now what you can do, for coming some certain level, you have to make this loop as false. How I can make this loop as false? I'm taking a count value 10. I'll start decreasing the count value for every single iteration. Okay. First count value will be 10, then it will be 9, then until unless is greater than 0, and it means till 1 greater than 0, it will execute. Then it will give, it will terminate that loop, because count values is, you're changing your count value here. Count equals to count minus 1. You're changing your count value. Let's see, like this. You have taken count equals to 10. Then you have you have given the while loop. This while loop is greater than 0. Yeah. This count value is greater than 10, greater than 0. Then print this count value, and start decreasing your value. Now, we have one shorthand notation also. People most of the time use shorthand notation, like you have this. I'll take count value 10 one more time. This count equals to count is greater than 0. Then print the count value. Then this. So sometime, you in some books, or some thing, you'll see this, some programming or some script already developed script, you see this notation. Now what I've done is count minus 1. It is similar to count minus 1. What I'm doing is, earlier I'm taking the same variable and replacing the value in that variable. I'm performing some operation on the same variable. Look at here. It gives me the same. It will start from 10, and it will end on 1. It's in while loop. It's a simple while loop I have taken in front of you. With the help of while loop, you can perform iterative operations if you want. Similarly, we have a looping concept for also. Like I said, you right, while until unless you forcefully terminate that while loop, it is not going to terminate. You have to set that condition. While condition should be false. This while you give the condition, you have to set this condition false at certain time, certain level. You have to set up your own for false value for that. Okay. Now we have one more loop called for loop. For loop, basically, for loop is always executed on sequence of value. In Python, for loop is always executed with in sequence of value. You have a sequence of value, then only you can execute your for loop there. How? Let's see. For I want to see the for example, I have a word. You can your string is also a sequence of value. For example, let's see. We'll have a for loop on mm, string. For word in, let's see, I'm giving a sequence of value that is a string, Python. Okay, same syntax. You have to use colon, then word in. This is an in operator. Now in Python we have in operator. That in operators gives us uh, feasibility that you can start iterating on any list. For in means you are going to that particular index, a sequence of value, and retrieving first value, index value, second index value, third index value, like that. For word in Python, if I hit enter now, if for example, if I print, if I give a simple print statement, print word, okay, it gives, it iterates through the all character of that particular string. Like for example, for word in Python, for it gives me py and everything. Similarly, as I said, you right, you can have this iteration on sequence of value. Your list is also a sequence of value. List example, your list has uh, a different order collection of data. For example, let's see, we have Python here, we have um, some integer value, some floating point value, some mm, floating point value, some long value. Okay? Like that, we have a one list. Now, you want to iterate to all the element that particular list. So I'll say element in element in list. Okay? Element in list. If you go for element and just see what are the elements in this list, you just give print element. Okay, hit enter, then it will give you all the elements in that list. See here, like you have this list, and you want to go for the particular individual element from that list. You can easily iterate to that element. Now here, for example, have taken a list, then in that list, if particular IP have certain IP addresses, and you're checking that you want to go for every single element. You want to verify that what are the elements are there in that list, and match for the element. You can use very easy. Let's see here, our list value. This is, for example, in this list I have one IP address also, 192.13.12.21 something 0, like that. Have one IP address also. Now you want to go each and every, your IP address is at the end. You're not sure your IP address is what where it is located. Yeah, it may be in the middle, it may be in the end. You want to retrieve that IP address and print that IP address. So what you can do is you can set up a for on that. Now you can verify with the help of if statement that if that element, whatever the element is coming, element, it should equal to your IP address. If it is equal to your IP address, then you want to print that IP address. Otherwise, the element is not, that element is not IP, is not 0. If this is there, then print IP. Okay, print IP, comma element, whatever the element you're retrieving. Okay, else for every other element you want to print not match, match. Okay, if I hit enter, see here, it has a zero index, first element, second element, then third element, first element, then second element, then third element, then fourth element. That's why it's just printed for the fourth time. IP1 is not matched, not matched, not matched. Then finally, this IP get matched with this IP. That's why it's printing that IP. Similarly, you have a list of IP addresses. You want to evaluate that, match. You have a particular IP address with you, and already some list contain that IP. Based on matching that IP only, you perform some task, you write some function. That time you can use this, literate this list with the help of that. For loop gives an, iterative process for us, for so that you can move to the sequence of value. Now we have seen that in here with the help of for loop. Now right now what we have, if you write any simple for loop like whatever we have written, for example, mm, for in list, whatever the list we have taken, for example this is a list. Now I'm writing for this for this this whatever I'm writing, element or variable, this is just the identifier. It can be any name. You can give any name after this for var in list. Okay? For var in list, then after this, now what I'm doing is, now if I'm just executing print var. Okay, with the help of this simple for loop, I can just go to the uh, value, this name and whatever the value I'm present inside my list, that list, I'm going to the individual value of that list. What about indexing? That list has an index, right? If I want to go to the index of that list, there is a method I have shown you, right? Length method, if let's see, if I execute this length method on that list, it gives me the length of the list. It shows me that you have a four element in that particular list. Now there is one more method called range method. If in range method, if you provide, starting and ending value of that, values, for example, I want a range from 1 to 10. If I hit enter, it gives me the value from 1 to 10. It's give me the range from 1 to 10. Similarly, with the help of these two, length method and range method, we can, start indexing our list. Let's see how. Now what I was having, I have my list. you know In this list, I'm first of all taking the length of the list, like this. You know, length of the list will give me length that is four, which is the four length of the list. Then on the top of that, I'll call one more method called range. By default, if you're giving only one value, right now I'm in length of the list, I'm getting only four. Four. If you're giving that four also, it will take from 0 to 4. It will give you range from 0 to 4. We'll see that how. For I'll just print var. Hit enter, it's give me the indexing, that length list. What is the list? This is my list has a four element. In that four element, zero index, second index, third index, like that you can iterate. Similarly, this for loop you can use for this range. Then you want to go to the each element of that list. So what you can do, you can, by index you want to retrieve it. For example, in this list, I want to retrieve uh, all the elements from that list. I'll give list, like this you can retrieve, right? List of that particular example where, like this we used to iterate that particular list. Let's see, hit enter. You can go for the element in that particular list. You can have indexing also. You can have, go to the individual element with the help of index value. Now why this indexing is necessary? This indexing is necessary to change any, for example, on, if that condition, for example, I have a condition that in for loop, change some element. Now this list has some element, right? This list has whatever the list it is. This list has some element. Now at the second, now the list has some element, and at the second index you want to change that element. How you can change? You just give list of, for example, I'll write some condition. If this index value var is equals to, suppose I want to change the second index. If this value equals to 2, then change the index. How you can change the index? Var, sorry, list of var equal to, just override with the new value. What is the new value? New value you want to give Python, for example, Python hyphen new, for example. Enter. Now I'll print the list. Whatever the list was there, I'll print that list. After you know okay, let's see. Now, what is the list was earlier? Was the list earlier, 21, 21. Now, next time, if it is not, second time it is also not, first time it is not matched, no, because it's having a zero index. Second time is also not matched because it's having one index. Third time it will match to that Python and it will change that Python new value. Okay. Now, fourth time, it's just coming out of the loop. It's verifying it. It's coming out of the loop, and this list value have already added new Python into it. Fourth time it is not overriding that value. Fourth time it's just printing that value we asked for. Okay, this like this you can you can play with the follow. Whenever you have a requirement to iterate, any have to follow some certain loop, certain iterative process, that time you can use for loop or while loop. Better to go with the for loop, because for loop having and for loop, while loop has an endless counter. You cannot, you have to forcefully terminate it by setting up certain certain criteria to that follow. After this follow, let's see. Actually, I'll exit. I'll show you some scripts I have developed. You know, written some inside that you can have a for loop inside a for loop. Let's see. Like here I think I have some nested for loop. Yeah. Let's see here. Your list can contain multiple lists, right? You have taken a list of lists. Then list of lists has list, like like a list which contain red, white, and green. Another list which contains 0, 1, 2, 3. Another list which contain 9.9, 8.0. That's floating integer list and floating. This different lists are present inside that. If I execute this normal for loop, like for list of in, for list in, list of list, then print the list, whatever the list element, it goes to the individual list. It will print the first list for me, then it will print the second list for me, then it will print the third list for me. Why like this? Now I have given this, this is a straight line I have given for differentiation. Now this is nested for loop. Why this nested for loop is necessary? For example, I have given a scenario that you have a list. Inside that list, one more list is there. Now you want to retrieve single element from inner list. This is a this is one list. You have inner list to this. Now you want to go to the inner list. That time you need a nested for loop concept. For example, list in, list of list. Now this item, this for item in range of list, whatever the range of list I've taken. Now I'm taking indexing. Here I'm taking indexing. Now this first list will have a zero index, and second list will have a one index, like that. For item in range of this, in item I'm storing that index value is uh, index value. Now index value will have a index for in each and every first element, second element, like the third element, like that. It will store the value here. Now in second, the list of element, whatever that I'm taking, this list of item index having zero, if it is matched to red, then I'm asking to change it to black. If I want to go this red element, I want to see that red element, and I want to change this red element with the black. you know how we can change it? I can change with go to that list, and find it out. That I have to find it out first element in first red element in that list, and then I have to replace with that red element with my element I want. Now imagine that right now I have given red, white, and green. Similarly, you have a list that contain inner list, and in that inner list you have a list of IP addresses or list of passwords or list of usernames like that. And you want to go and modify that, go inside that inner list, and you want to modify it like this. You can use a nested for loop concept, and you can modify it. Similarly, you have, you can go inside and replace that value and print else. I'll just quickly execute it like this. Okay. Now earlier I was having red, white, and green. As I said, you right. First for loop, which is a normal for loop. If I execute that normal for loop on particular list, it give me the all element from that list. Now if I execute, now look at here. In second inner loop I was checking for a particular individual value, then I was replacing that value with the inner, with my own value. This red should match with the red match, and it change it. Now for any other list, for not for for this is not match, for this is not match, for this is not match, for this is not match. It checking for every single thing, and if it is not match, it's replacing that thing. Similarly, here it is a red. If you could have one IP address here, and you're checking that that IP address present at what, how many times in that particular list. If it's present in multiple time, you want to replace with that new IP address. For example, you created some instance, and that instance IP gets changed. Now you have a list of IP, you want to just replace it quickly. You can follow the for loop, nested for loop concept, and you can replace it with the inside of inner list also. Yeah. No, pretty much. No, you whenever you're practicing, don't practice much with the this interpreter. Practice with this scripts with the practice with the script, so that you can go and see whatever you have practiced in that inside that particular scripts. I have nested if concept also. I can show you that nested if whatever I have written, nested underscore if statement. In that statement, I've taken on x value equals to 30, y value equals to 100. Now x equal to 30. I'm checking that. Now I'm again checking if it's x equals to 30, then check for y value also. It's checking for y value also. Now both conditions get satisfied. X equals to 30 and y equals to 100. It's this statement. If those value didn't match, it prints x is not equal to 30, because first condition it gets false, and it won't go for the next condition. Let's quickly execute that. Both the conditions satisfied, x equals to 30 and y equals to this. You have a nested if, nested for, you know, while loop. Generally, with the help of while loop, you itself, you should not use while loop major until unless you are now making that condition false, because sometime it may increase the load on processor, because it's infinite loop, and you're not ending that loop at a certain level. So you should not go nested while, according to me, because nested while it creates an unnecessary impact on your mm, process. Yeah. And apart from that dictionary, we have quite pretty much done with the pretty much done with this uh, decision making and looping. While loop and for loop, we have had a certain quite good examples with for loop and decision making, the if else and for loop and while loop. Now we have one more concept here, like functions in Python. you know you have whatever the code you have written, whatever the actions you want to perform. Like for example, if I do ls, mm, now little example of nested for only. Okay, I've taken an example of nested for here, right? Now, this nested for, whatever the code you have written just in front of you, it is usable. I have to go to that script and I have to use it, and I have to reuse it multiple times. And the thing is, this code, whatever you have written, it is not in the form of well organized. It is not well structured. Like it is not blocked actually. You you can use, if you want to use this logic, whatever you have written here, if you want to use this logic, whatever is there in front of you again and again for the multiple time, it's better, instead of writing this code, every single time in your, in your scripts for, extracting multiple inner lists, either you can go with the, for this time you should go, writing this code multiple time is not good. At the time, what you can do, you can go for the function concept. What this function is, and a function is nothing but a block of code you have written and you want to reuse it again and again. A logic you have written, a certain action you want to perform, and that action should be reusable. Perform it multiple times. That time you go with the help of functions. Now, for function syntax is quite easy. You give def keyword, definition of function, def, then give the some function name. For example, I'm using function one, some, and function one name. This is a name, and your function always, in the form of parenthesis. You give this open brace. This is the parenthesis. You give open bracket and close bracket in front after your function name, after your function identifier, then this colon. This is the function. Now, this function contains, for example, def function one print. For example, this function only prints hi. Enter, hit enter. Now this function is there with the interpreter. Now you have to call this function one call. Now this function one, you call this function one, whatever the print, whatever the statement you have written inside that function, it start executing. You know, we call this def function one is a function definition. Now for this we call as function calling. This is the function definition, and this is the function calling. Sorry, this is the function definition you have written, and this is the function calling. You call that function with that value. Now this is whatever the function I have written, it is called as no argument function. This is no arg function because there is no argument with inside that parenthesis. I have given default function and start executing. But if you have function, like, if you define a function at the time of function definition, function and two, now at the time you define some parameter to it, like this. Now this is function to str. Okay, if you hit enter, and then after hitting enter you have print. Example, I'm gonna take name from the user. For example, hi, well, hi, comma str. Okay, hit enter, hit enter. Now while calling the function you need to pass an argument like this. You cannot call empty parenthesis that function name because this is an parameterized function. This is an now you have, look here, there's two terminology. This str you have written is called as parameter. At the time of function definition you give the parameter, but at the time of function calling your same parameter will call as an argument. This is zero argument function. This is, for example, this is one argument function. Okay, this is zero argument function. Whatever you have written, this is zero argument function, this is one argument function, and this is a parameterized function. Okay. Now if I hit enter, it look at here, I've passed one string value. I was expecting this variable to have a string value. Now whatever I've done, I have taken that string value and appended to that. I just have taken, call this. Now this function 2 is going to call this function 2. Now function 2 is get call, whatever the string value you take this string value here, from here, and then this variable contain that string value. Now the string value is appended to the print statement. Simple. This is zero argument function. This is, one argument function. This argument function, basically, why, in Python we have four type of functions. We have required argument function. I'll show you what is this is required argument function. Next one is, you know default argument function. Default argument function. Now third one is keyword argument function. Keyword argument function. Keyword. Okay. This is keyword argument function. Now fourth one is required argument, default argument, keyword argument, and fourth one is like variable length argument. Variable length argument. Okay. These four types of functions are present with the Python. Okay, and you have seen no argument function also. That no argument function is not considered as in this four type. Okay, this is the function I was executing in front of you. Now, while calling this function, hit enter. Now, this function requires one argument. This function, whatever you have written, fun2str, that is a required argument function. That means you need to pass some value there. Let's see how we can pass some value. Like if I call the same function2 no argument, it gives me an error that indicating that this is a required argument function. You need to pass, it's compulsory for you to pass an argument with this function. Otherwise it will throw an error to you like this. If you pass an argument with that function, it takes that argument and prints that argument. Okay, this is whatever the function to you are seeing in front of you. This is the required argument function. Okay, now we have one more function type called as default argument. You have seen required argument, then you have a default argument. For example, I'm setting a default age equals to 13. Okay, age equals to 18. Now I'm printing print um, hi name comma str. Next year I'm taking name suppose, then comma str print your age is, example, default age is 18. Okay, now enter. Now this function 2 needs two parameter now. Well, the thing is what I've done is I've declared one age equals to 18 itself. That means if you pass, it's also good. If you don't pass, it's also good. Right now, what I'll do, I'll pass age equals to only one parameter, that is white. But the thing is I have given one default parameter, it's called as default argument function. This is the default argument function which contain 18 also there. Okay, now, if if you want to pass that argument also, there is no problem. It is going to override that, for example, it is going to override that value. See, now earlier it was your name is whatever you have written, then your age is whatever you're passing. Right now I'm passing that value. Otherwise, if not passing your value, I'm taking that value as a default argument. This is called as default argument function. Now we have seen no argument function, then we have seen required argument, then we have seen default argument. Similarly, you have keyword base, this keyword argument function. For example, I'm not passing anything, I'm taking function 3. Okay. Function 3, this function 3 uh, takes an age and value. Print your age is my comma age. I'm printing both the value, same line. Okay. Now this whatever you have written, this str and age, you need to give these two parameter while function calling. You call function 3 function 3, and you give, for example, ideally you should give a age str first and age next. The thing is, you can follow the keyword based function, like you give you give age function 3, age equals to 12, comma str equals to like this. Now look at here. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking str and age. I'm printing that str value, whatever the str I'm taking, I'm printing that str value. Now I'm taking age also. I'm printing that age also in front of you. Yeah, this function, whatever you're calling, but ideally you should go str here first. Str print str. I think is I followed keyword based argument function. This function what you are seeing in front of you. This is called keyword based argument function. Now we have seen required argument, default argument, keyword argument, no argument function. We have one more type of function called variable length argument function. How this variable length argument function is written? The def, you're taking function for example for now function 4. In that function 4 you have a string value. Then you are not you're not sure that how many value come from this, how many value is going to become into that function. You're not sure that how many argument is going user is going to provide to your function. See, now here star, as for example, I'm expecting some star. I'm giving variable value var. Okay, you can give var tuple if it's a tuple. If any value it is going to store. So for example, I give var tuple. Hit and function. The star value is a variable length argument. It will look for that variable value. Then print print str first. Then this var tuple next var tuple. Okay. Now it enter it and now for at the time of calling this function, you should remember you was not when you are defining this function, you was not sure that how many argument is going to come to my function. Okay. Now whatever you generally just taken a star value means all the values are welcome. Okay, whatever the value you give, all the values are welcome. Let's see. Um, for example, I want to pass a tuple now. Tuple equals to var tuple. Var tuple equals to some tuple value. Value is 12 sorry 12 comma python comma floating point value also, and it hit enter. At the time of this function calling function 4, you need to pass this var tuple, var tuple tuple, and some you have declared one more parameter as I'm passing this as var comma. Just he was not sure at the time of declaration what are you going to pass. You're going to pass a tuple, or a tuple which contain one more tuple. You're going to pass one parameter. Let's see. See, this is the output that you are expecting this as a tuple. Print str. Whatever the value you're giving, you're printing str. Then after that str, whatever you print, it was a variable argument function. That means you can pass one tuple, or you can pass one more tuple. Tuple. uh, Okay, we can pass one tuple, two tuple, three tuple. There is no problem. How many? This variable argument function, it is going to take whatever the argument you provide to it. It is going to take all the argument from the user. Okay, this was the function story. Now we have learned all the basics, from in terms of function point of view, and this function has we have taken all the Yeah, uh, we have all learn all the function point of view. I'll show you some scripts that have written how you can utilize that function. You know, let's see. let's see the real examples of that particular function, how you can utilize it. Now, this function, whatever the functions we have written, we can start utilizing it. Mm, let's see. Was vi patients patient.py. Let's see. Now, the thing is, what I'm doing is I'm taking that file function, and that file contained you know one or two value. Okay, this function has add num. It's is expecting num1 num2. It's expecting num1 num3. Whatever the function you have written, and it's performing the additions operation, subtraction operation, multiplication operation, division operation like that. Okay, now these operations, whatever you have written inside that Python, y- you are you are supposed to you're supposed to reuse it again and again. You write some function, you declare inside that function. Now you want to reuse it again and again, so you can perform any operation on that. You can start utilizing it. Let's see how. Now, you have declared all the functions, you have written all the functions in a particular file. Now you want to reuse it. For reusability purpose, what you can do, a moment please. Okay, for reusability purpose, you have declared all the functions in a particular file. Now you want to start reusing it. How you can reuse it? Whatever, right now I have just taken addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and you want to perform these operations, and you can reuse it. Before going to module part, I just want to show you one more example. There's any calculator? Yeah, see here, this, I have designed a simple calculator functions. Okay, that function, see, it was similar to the previous script, but there were some changes I've done. Add, which contains add take xy. We perform addition operation, returns addition value. Subtraction, take a two integer, two value, x a value, whatever you provide to it. Similar, this is also a restricted argument function. You cannot pass one argument here. Similarly, this is also restricted argument, to argument, to argument. You perform all the functions one after another. You declare all the functions. Now, after declaring all these functions, you're giving options. Select select operations. You're printing same some statement. Now, whatever the print statement I have written, it's in print method. You can use like this also, and you can use like this also. There is no problem. This is also a print function. This is also a print function. But the thing is, Python 3 onwards, Python 3 is launched. In that function, it's better to, whenever you're using function, you use with the parentheses. Okay, there is no, it will not give an error to you, but it's better to have a practice with the parentheses. This also you can write print choice of, give parentheses in choice. You give a bracket to it, and then you can use print choice like that. It's a Python 3. They have mentioned function should be written as parentheses, so that in terms of for interpreter readability or user readability, it should not be difficult. So I'm printing this five statements: select the operation, add operation, subtraction operation, multiplication, division. Then what I'm doing is I'm taking this input, whatever the raw input I have shown to you. It was till Python 2. Okay, Python 2. After Python 3, they have changed that. It will work in Python 3 also, there is no problem. But the thing is, they've changed that raw input to the input. It's input function is also allow us to give a console, can give a prompt to the user that type something, and we'll take that input from the user and we'll store into some variable. Like you're taking enter the choice 1 2 3 4, then we are storing into choice variable, and we are printing the choice. Okay, now after taking the choice, I'm asking two more inputs. Enter the first number, enter the second number. For example, number one, number two. I'm taking number one. I'm storing in num one. I'm storing taking number 2, I'm storing in number 2. After storing this number, based on the choice, whatever the choice you have given are here in choice, if choice is equals to 1, okay, choice is equals to 1, I'm evaluating with the variable, whatever the choice variable I have. Now, after evaluating with choice variable, uh, I'm performing. If choice equals to 1, that means they were asking for addition operation. Perform, call the addition function. Here I'm calling that addition function here. Whatever the addition function I have declared at the top, I'm calling depending upon the choice equal to 1, call that addition function. Okay, call that addition function. Once. Here I've declared that addition function here, add with two parameter. In same script I'm calling depending upon the whatever the choice user is going to enter. I'm performing addition operation, subtraction operation, multiplication operation, and division operation. Simply, let's see how it is how it looks after executing Python. Now select an operation, add, subtraction, multiplication, enter the choice 1 2 3 4. I'm entering 1, enter the first number 121, number this one. Now it's performing an addition operation on that, plus. Okay, if I could given something else like perform 3 multiplication, enter number 23, 23, it gives me a multiplication operation on that, on the top of that. That's how you can use functions depending upon the whatever the logic you need for reusability purpose. You can start using functions. Now we have one more concept here. You have seen if statements, you have seen for loop, while loop, plus you have seen some functions, how to use functions. You started reusing your code, from interpreter your practice. You started reusing your code with the with the help of this function. You can start reusing your code with the help whatever the logic you have written. You write once, start reusing again and again the function. But the thing is, there is one more concept, like here we have certain module, certain packages, certain libraries like that. So in Python, let's see here. I'll quickly demonstrate you. Yeah, we have seen this if statement, while loop, loop control. This breaking concept I have not taken, but I'll go quickly and take for you. The else loop, else clause, for loop, loop functions, basic functions. Functions are first class object. Function is also one type of object. Definition simple. This parameters functions, high order functions. Yeah. This is what I was talking about. Module. The highest level of structure of Python is like you have a you have you have a functions. You declare functions inside that file. You that file, every file in Python, if it is declared, if you declare a function inside that file, and that file contains some functions and you can start using it. So every Python file which contains a function is called as module. Okay, why module concept is there? Module, um, mm, you know consider like this. Wait. Now see here, imagine that this is your program. Okay, in this program you have different functions written. Function 1, okay, enter. Again function 2, something like that. You have multiple functions here. You have written functions, all the function inside this, and you have functions. You have this is your some file. What file you can say? Some um, operations file, for example. This is your operations file. Now if this is your operations file with .py extension, definitely with .py extension. Okay, this is the operations file. Now you want that this function get reused into other files also. You have separate files, like some other files, like some with separate extension, like what you can say, use operations, use operation dot op.py, for example. You have this file, you have operations file, you have this op.py file. Now you want to utilize these functions whatever you have written inside this operations.py file into your use operations file. How you can use it? Now for using this file, you have to make this file as a module. Whatever that you have written this file should be a module first. Now once you declare this file as, once you write any file with any Python file with functions, it's by default a module. Okay, you can start using that module. We'll in future we might have, I'll schedule one Python automation class, Python automation for DevOps class. In that I'll tell you that I'll take os module for you. I'll take fabric library for you for performing automation. That time we'll see. The concept is every file you write in Python, it's considered as a module. Okay, this is the module file. Now see here, now you have a module. This is the module. Okay, this is module. Every Python file is a module. Now in some directory, okay, it is considered one directory. Okay, some uh, sample, some API directory, for example. API. Okay. This API directory contains number of files, 1.py, 2.py, like that, 1.py, 2.py, 3.py, like that. You have multiple files there. That means this API directory has multiple modules. If this API directory has multiple modules, that this API directory is called as package. Whatever the directory it is called as package. Okay. Now this package, uh, this whatever the combination of modules forms in package, and combination of all the, for example, you have multiple directories, multiple packages. This combination of packages called as libraries. Okay. You have you have packages. Now you have multiple packages, then it forms a library. In your Python, by default one module is there, OS module. That is nothing but a OS file inside your package. This is a module, then we have packages, then we have library on the top of that. Combination of modules forms a package, combination of packages forms a library for you. It's a default structure. It's a default structure in any programming language you go. Okay. Now we have seen this OS operations.os. It was a file, then it contains some functions. I want to use this file into another program or somewhere else. So what I can do, this file operation.py is a file with the functions. Then it's a by default a module for you. You go to the Python, for example. Let's see this vi operations. It contains some function I want to use in somewhere else. Not in the same program. I can call it. I can call the same function here down, like add something like that, and I can execute this function, add 12 comma 2 once, like that, whatever the function it is, I can call it here. Okay, we'll call only add function now, perform, but it will not print anything to me. Go, you right, third, this is should be add. So use Python, simply give the addition to me. Okay, whatever the addition, because I'm calling only add function, but I don't want to call this function from here. I want to call from somewhere else. So what I can do is, I can use this. file as a module. How? Now let's see. I'll go to the Python interpreter. I'll show you from there. Okay. Now that file is there. Operation.py file is there. Now I wanna use that file as a module. There is a keyword called import operations. If we import perform this import operations, that means you're loading that file into your shell. Whatever you can use this import operation in another file also. Same. You can we'll see it later how we can do it, but I'm showing in shell to you. You can use now with the help of now operations. You can call like operations dot add of 12, so 21 comma 12 something like that. You can easily call the function. What you have done is there was a function, there was a file with functions. You have make that file as a module. You started writing that importing that file into other cells. Okay, same thing. Whatever the import operation you have done here in Python interpreter, you go to the you create one more file, go there and call that operations. Now in now if you want to import something, there are two types of import. One is implicit import, another one is explicit imports. Implicit import means whatever you're writing whole at once. This is called as whole import also. You're importing whole file at once. That's why you have to use this operation. All the time you have to use this operation dot add. Means you're importing at once, you're import whole the file, it will be imported at once. I've shown you that. I have already said you that Python is an interpreted language, but the thing is, there here have we have intermediate compiler also. Let's see. I'm like you have imported. Now if I go and do ls, there is, once you do this import operation, there is one file created with .pyc extension. .pyc. We have, Python is no doubt there is some discussion is going on this. When we import some file, it gives .pyc file to us. That means Python is a compiled language. No, Python is an interpreted language, but the thing is we have intermediate compilers here. When you load something at once, what you're doing is that you're importing all the file, you're performing whole import. When you're doing whole import, what it is doing is, what we have an intermediate compiler that it will load all the file into your what and it generates this .pyc file for you. Now if you do an explicit import, like, I'll delete this file rm-rf this operations pyc. Now I don't have that file, I don't have that compiled version of that operation directory. Now if I go to the Python shell, Python interpreter, prompts, yeah, here, if I want to go for the implicit import, particular from particular thing only. When I import from, all right, what is in from operation, you have need to give the module name operations. Okay, from operations, yeah, from operations, is that file? Yeah, here it is, right? Yeah, from operations, import only add. Okay, I just want to import add function from it. Now I imported add function from it. Now you can call add function like this: add of 12 comma, it gives you perform an addition operation. This implicit import, you can perform import another operation also, now you give multiplication of something. These functions I've already written into inside my script. Gives you this. Okay, then by calling this call as explicit import, you go to that file, and you're taking one by one functions from that file. Now there is one more explicit import with the help of star. It's called as from operation star import star. What is going to, it's going to import all the functions from that particular directory. Now look at here, if you import a particular function from that directory, you cannot call other function. Every time you have to go and import that function, like add. But if you do import star, that means whatever functions you have written inside that module, it is going to import at once. For example, now I can have other access to the other functions also, like 12, like this. Okay, division operation. If could have import, if could have, if you not have given import star and you are trying to access the div function, it could end up with the error. Now, point is, what I want to show that if I exist, I get from this prompt, and if I do ls, see here, there is no .pyc file is generated, because what you have done is you went for the explicit import. If you're going for the explicit import, that means you're you're loading that functions on whatever the functions you have written inside that module, you're loading it one by one. At the time that compile file, whatever the compiled pyc file is there, it's not going to generate. Load at once only. So this was the concept of module, importing module, performing operation with the module, and yeah, this was core. This was till here. It was core of the Python we have learned, with the help of functions, control, and many statements. Yeah. So this Python core Python from my side, like I declare that it's at the we have completed successfully this core Python. This pretty much this much is there in core Python for uh, if statement, for if statement, and till importing a module. Like if you have any questions from your side, okay. Do you have any questions from your side? You can ask now questions. Yeah, is there any questions? Uh, okay. Uh, yeah, sure. You can have a recording from front desk. Otherwise, you could have started recording at the starting of the session itself. But you can get this recording from front desk itself. I'll ask. Otherwise, I'll discuss once this thing can. I think they'll not provide it by email or what. But I once I'll let confirm with these people that they're giving recordings or not. Uh, they might have a recording for this. Yeah, yeah. No questions, Narsimha. Thank you. Yeah. Uh, you for practice, you can refer decoding their book, and everything is mentioned. Very clear, clear cut there. That every we have used many build. I have used few built-in functions here. Because it was very time restricted, so I've used very few built-in function here. You can go to the book and you can have more building functions from there. Yeah, you can. Yes, yeah, you can have a recording for yesterday class also, Narsimha. Yeah. Yeah, you can, you go to the book, you will find more precise uh description, and more related information on that, on that in this Python session, for this Python. But those were the very restricted time, so I have taken most of it. But you can get more clear idea there. Okay, when we get a chance to when chance, can you also take, yeah, for automation, for os module and fabric automation, I'll plan for a separate session, and that session we are going to take this os automation plus this fabric. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm planning for that, Megha. Yeah, thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Enjoy your weekend. Bye. Thank you guys.